It is a paradox of human nature that we find comfort in our sorrows, as if sadness were an old friend we cannot bear to let go. We cling to what was, afraid to step into the unknown. It can be addictive because it's easier to keep feeling that way than to actively pursue happiness, which can be fleeting. Happiness is precious because it's not something that stays with us constantly, and we appreciate it all the more because of its fleetingness. As a result, we try to cherish and cultivate moments of happiness whenever possible. However, suppressing or avoiding sadness altogether is not the solution for true happiness or mental well-being. All emotions, including sadness, need to be acknowledged and felt for you to be emotionally healthy human beings. Ignoring or denying your feelings of sadness can lead to greater unhappiness and a sense of misery. You might have ended your relationship with someone important to you. You might have lost your job, and it was a job you really liked. You might have experienced the loss of someone you deeply cared about. Whether you are 30, 40, or 60 years old, you feel like your life didn't turn out the way you hoped it would, and it makes you feel really unhappy. Of course, those are all valid reasons to be sad. It's normal for everyone to feel sad sometimes. It shows us how human we are, especially when we're going through tough times. Even though life can be tough, our ability to bounce back is beautiful. Sadness can be a safe place when life feels heavy. It gives you a chance to take things slow, think about your feelings, and find meaning in what you go through. It reminds you that we're sensitive and capable of loving deeply. And without hard times, you wouldn't fully cherish the happy moments. It's completely okay to feel sad and let yourself experience those emotions. But sometimes, when it's time to move forward and embrace other feelings, like happiness or hope, you find it hard to do so. Instead, you continue to stay in that state of sadness, almost like you've gotten used to it. Before you know it, you're stuck in this sadness, and it becomes your safe place. You can't seem to let go of it and try something different. It's like being addicted to sadness without even realizing it. The tricky thing about this addiction is that it's easy to maintain, and you may not even notice how deeply it affects you. It happens when you allow yourself to dwell in sadness constantly. Sadness might feel easier because it doesn't demand much from you. All it requires is feeling sorry for yourself, and that can be one of the simplest things to do. Life is a mix of ups and downs, and experiencing various emotions is a normal part of being human. But it's essential for you to find out when to move on. You might think, if only I had been a better partner, we could still be together. Or, if only I had worked harder, I wouldn't have lost my job. These if-only thoughts can be painful and might lead you to blame yourself for the way things turned out. Or you might think that if you were still together, you wouldn't feel so sad. Or if you hadn't been fired, you'd feel more hopeful about the future. And you keep feeling miserable because it's much easier to indulge in self-pity than to remind yourself to move on. While everyone has their reasons for feeling sad, not everyone stays stuck in that sadness and complains. But you might find yourself in that situation because you've become addicted to the comfort of sadness. It feels familiar, and it doesn't require much effort from you. Happiness, however, asks for more from you. It pushes you to step out of your comfort zone, to strive for personal growth, and to explore different paths when your initial plans don't work out. Osho once said, "Sadness gives depth, happiness gives height." Happiness is like reaching a peak on a mountain, and it does take effort to climb up there. But after that happiness peak, there may be moments of sadness or challenging times, similar to descending into a valley. The fear of experiencing sadness or disappointment after being happy might make you hesitant to even try to climb towards happiness in the first place. It can be tempting to stay in the familiar sadness because you know what to expect, and there's a sense of comfort in that. However, it's essential to remember that life is a journey with ups and downs. While sadness is a natural part of life, it's about finding a balance and being open to the different emotions life brings, even if it means taking some risks and facing challenges along the way. It's not always a drastic shift from happiness to sadness. You can find a middle ground of contentment, but achieving contentment requires effort and active work on your part. Breaking free from a sadness addiction is in your hands. Like with any addiction, the first step is to recognize and acknowledge that you have a problem. Once you've identified the issue, you can make a conscious decision to overcome it and make positive changes in your life. Changing your mindset is crucial. Let go of obsessive and repetitive thinking patterns that keep you stuck in sadness. Remind yourself that you've given yourself time to grieve whatever you needed to grieve, and now it's time to start moving forward. Be patient and compassionate with yourself during this process. Healing takes time, but by actively working on it, you can gradually let go of the addiction to sadness and embrace contentment and happiness in your life. Remember, seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can be helpful along the way. Aim for contentment with moments of happiness and occasional sadness. Each emotion has its place in life, and it's important to value and experience them all. Embrace the complexity of life with its ups and downs. It's more fulfilling than leading a plain life trapped in deep sadness. Remember, allowing yourself to experience a range of emotions and taking on challenges can lead to a more rewarding and meaningful life. So, my friend, if you let yourself wallow in sadness and stay stuck in it, you can lose the strength and motivation to break free from it. The longer you stay in that state, the more challenging it becomes to pull yourself out of it and find happiness again. So, it's important to acknowledge your emotions, process them, and then take positive steps towards healing and moving forward. If you find this message meaningful and believe it could help someone else, please feel free to share it with them too. Thank you for listening. Wishing you a wonderful and beautiful time ahead.